Alright, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're watching this. I just hope that you're having an amazing day. My name is Suplex. I say Sue for short, but you know. And I've been creating pretty much all my life. Let's see. Drawing, painting, making comics. My dad put me onto comics extremely, so I give big props to him. And I didn't start painting until around high school. It died down a bit. Then when I met this awesome painter named Angela up in her Venice gallery, that's when I was like, okay, I'm ready to take it serious again. And now here I am. I've been instructing for I'd say about 6 months now, so over 6 months, because I started back in November last year. So ever since then, I've been doing more than, I'd say 10 plus parties, and they've all been extremely friendly, very kind audience, and we all managed to get different results, but in its own special way. And I feel when it comes to this session that we're about to get into, I don't want you to feel like this is an art class where you have to get an A. This is just for you it's just an experience to enjoy. That's all I can really say. Like, we're here to have a great time, to chill out and enjoy ourselves. So I'm very excited to be painting with you today. And today we'll be painting some flowers, a beautiful bouquet of flowers all around some wine glasses. So if you do have wine glasses, you should have those ready. Stemless, stemmed, it doesn't matter. It's completely up to you. Even if you don't have wine glasses, you can use a canvas as well. And I'm going to show you how the glass will look on a canvas, because I don't really have glasses right now. But I will film and document the party that I'll be doing this lesson for later on in the day. So stay tuned for that later in the video, or if you see it on socials, you can find me on Suplex on Instagram and Suplexity on TikTok. So I'm not saying that to say this video was over. I'm just letting you know you can follow up through my socials. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm just going to walk you through the basic materials of which you should have before you. If you do not have any of these materials, you can find them at your local Dollar Tree, dollar store, grocery store. And I'll even give you some links in my Amazon links in my description, so that way you're just in the loop. So let me show you the materials you should have. So you should have 2 brushes, your big brush and your small brush. I call this Big Ben my best friend because he pretty much takes me through most of my paintings. And this is my little detail brush. So that's for the finishing touch. I call it the finishing touch brush. But you can name these brushes however you want. I'm not controlling how you name any of your stuff. I want you to have fun. Name anything how you want it. Alright? And before you even get into paint, you should have an apron or something to protect your clothes, because even though the paint they'll be using acrylic paint, it's water-based, so that means it's easy to wash off your hands. You may have a little difficulty washing it off your clothes, so if it's not washing out of your clothes, I recommend you use nail polish remover or alcohol to get it out with the ear cleaner. I don't know why they call it ear cleaners. We're not supposed to be putting it in our ears, but Q-tips, there we go. Okay, so you should have your brushes, you should have protective gear, you should have your paint palette, and I'm going to show you why this looks like this. So you should have a paint palette with all of your primary colors on it, including white and black, and you should have blue, red, and yellow. This is going to be where you put your paints. Let's say you need more paint, you're just going to put on this section. For this side, this is where you're going to be mixing and placing your paints as you go, picking it up as you go. So I'm going to show you how that looks throughout the process. Also, you should have a cup of water. Mine is a little black because I use it to paint out my glasses in the beginning. But make sure that you have a clean cup of water, because this is used for cleaning your brush and to also dilute your colors so that it could drag across the whatever canvas you're using, and I'll show you how that looks. If you're using glass, I wouldn't recommend the method I'm about to teach. So just to show you how the basics of using this water. Say this is a dirty brush. You're just going to clean by turning your brush in circles, counterclockwise, clockwise, it doesn't matter. The focus is just you getting that paint off with the bottom of your cup. And then you see that excess strip? You're going to go ahead and take the side of your brush on both sides to get that excess water off. Alright, so you should have a paper towel or a dirty rag, whatever you're going to use to, I'll show you in a bit. So we use our bag paper towel to just get that excess water off of our paintbrush. And if you have a lot of paint on your brush, you could go ahead and use it too to just dump the rest of that color off, so it's easier to clean your brush in the water so you're not dirtying it up so fast or it's not stuck on your brush still. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and take a good look on our palette. I'm about to show you the colors that you'll need. We're gonna start with the green of our leaves. So we're going to go ahead and pick up some yellow and some blue. I'd say pick up 2 scoops of yellow and a little bit of blue, because that blue is a very strong color. So I'm about to show you how that looks. And I'll also show you how I pick up my paints on my palette. So you want to go ahead and pick up from the side corner part of your brush just to scoop up that yellow and place it on your mixing side of your palette. So I took a couple scoops of that. Also, as you can see, I'm running out of paint already. So I just add a little bit of paint as I go, because you never know how much paint you're going to have left over. So I always start small. So just keep note of that. And I'm going to go ahead and pick up a little bit of this blue color and then place it on my palette and just start mixing it up in a circular motion with my brush. Okay. You want to make sure that you mix it enough to get that color. And this is just to get the basic colors down, because we're going to be painting in layers. So if this isn't the green that looks like the reference or the green that you want, don't worry, because this is just the first coat you're going to be putting on your glass. So you want to make sure that your brush is loaded on both sides. Again, you could scoop it up the same way you scoop up that yellow, just to make sure that your brush is loaded. Okay, so I'm going to teach you a technique on how I paint my leaves. So throughout this process, I'm going to teach you how to create this realistic effect by doing the simplest actions. So to create the effect for my leaves, we're just going to want to go ahead and take the side of our brush like so, and just start from the tip and onto the flat part of our brush. We're going to do the same with the other side. You're going to start with the tip of your brush and go to the flat part and work your way off. So that's going to be our first leaf. I'm gonna try this again. I know that was a little hard to explain, but you see on this part of your brush, this is where you first start off with, and then you're going to want to twist your wrist so to the point where the stroke of your brush gets flatter, as you can see from my glass right here. So I'm gonna show a demonstration again. Also, I think it's best to show you how to create an outline for your glasses first. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a leaf, a little overlapping over my leaf right here, and then do the same on the other side. So you got the basics of a leaf, okay? And to get that same effect again, you want to go ahead and pick up some color on your brush, and then you're going to start with the tip of your brush like I showed you, flat, and then work your way back to thin. And then you're going to do the same on the other side. You want to make sure that you leave an opening for your stems too. And you should end off back to the tip of your brush. So we go from thin to thick to thin. Okay? So I'm gonna just do a couple more just to show you how it looks, just so that you could get the hang of picking up with your color and creating that leaf effect on your cup. Because you pretty much, we're just getting the outline, the basics down. So we're gonna go ahead and make another leaf. So to make it easier, I'm gonna make another outline. I'll be light with my brush. And then again, I start from thin to thick to thin again. Same with my other side, thin to thick to thin again, okay? I'm gonna do a couple more, and then I'm gonna show you guys what comes next after that. I'm thinking, I'm gonna show you guys how to make either a light green or just go to pink. So I'm gonna do a couple more. So I start with, you could do an outline or you could just stroke it out. It's completely up to you. I'm just showing different ways you could go about it. So I go ahead and take my brush, thick and thin. I land my color, I twist, and I go thin again, lifting off my canvas, okay? So I'm gonna do the same with one more. This time I'm gonna do an upside down leaf. So it's pretty much the same concept, it's just a different direction. So to make things easier, I'm gonna go ahead and make an upside down leaf right here. And then I go from thin to thick. Honestly, for this one, you could just fill it in, because like I said, we're just getting the basics down. So no need to stress. Remember, we're here to have a good time and to just learn something different. It's a whole new experience. Okay, so you should have your first colors landed down. All right. So while that is drying, we're gonna go ahead and do the same with our other glass. If you have another glass on you. The lesson that I'm doing for this day, they're going to want to do 2 glasses. So while this is drying, if you have a second glass, you can do the same with this, but with your next glass. If you're ready for the next part, if you have a canvas or you just have one glass, just take a moment to let your paint dry. You could go ahead and skip the video, this part of the video if you like, so we can move on to the next color, okay? So I'm gonna do the same with my next glass, and if you run out of paint, don't worry. You're going to go ahead and do the same ratio. It's going to be 2 scoops of yellow and a little bit of blue. And you're gonna wanna mix that in. Mix it in nice and easy. And then we're gonna go ahead and do the same with our other glass. And keep in mind, you don't have to do this same type of order for your leaves. I'm just showing you the basics of how to put the leaves down on your canvas. So You could go around your glass and do different types of patterns, but we're just getting leaves down. So just to show you an example of what I mean for different leaves, you can go ahead, do that one side of the leaf, and start from the top again, top of your brush, and do from thin to thick, just like that. And I'm gonna do another one. I'm gonna do a big one this time, so I'm gonna go ahead and go from thin to thick. Okay, I'm gonna do the other side, thin to thick, and then if you got an opening, just fill it in. That's completely okay. How I did right here is only because it's not a lot to cover, so I use my brush to fill that part, the inside of the leaf part, in. But if you're working on bigger leaves, it's completely okay to just make the outline and just paint it in. So you pretty much have something similar to the big leaf that we did. Just remember, no pressure. We're just getting down the basics. So we just want to go ahead and put our leaves anywhere. Just start adding leaves. I'm going to do another upside down leaf down here. I don't have to do the same method I did here. I could just do an arch and fill the rest in. If it doesn't come out as perfect as you like it, that's okay. Once it's dry, you can go back over it. So this is just an example of how my leaves would look if it was on the other side of a cup. So this is what I mean by it's okay to play around with where you place your leaves. Okay? And you know what the heck? I'm gonna just paint a tiny one right up there. Okay? So for the next coat, I'm gonna show you how I play with different tones of my greens. So we got the basics down. Now we're going to get started with actually adding effects, adding different tones. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some more yellow. All right. I normally have to like ask around the room before the next part so that no one feels behind, so that I can just walk through with them as they go and they're not like, hey, I need more paint before you go on. I got you. I don't want you behind. So I just take 2 scoops of yellow again and some blue just to get the basic green down. And then when it comes to different tones, I'm gonna show you what I mean by that. So let's say you want to get a darker green. You're just gonna wanna go ahead and add more blue to that. So you just wanna add a corner piece of blue as you go, because again, like I said, that blue is a very strong color. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add more blue into my green. And I'm gonna add more until it's to that dark green that I want. Okay. So we can do a foresty blue type of green. You can do a yellow green, so you could add more yellow. So you can make a yellow green. You may want to clean your brush for this part because as you can see, it's kind of hard for me to get that new color in because I mixed that blue. Like when I say that blue is very powerful, it can even affect how you mix your colors. So I feel like I'm almost at that light yellow I want. But to just achieve that color, you just want to add yellow as you go. And I would say start with a clean brush when you're making lighter colors. That way you don't take up so much paint in the process. You want to hold on to as much paint as you can. All right, so these are your light green and your yellow green. You can even do a light green. So you could pick whichever green that you want to mix with. And so I'm gonna just show you how it looks with the light yellow. And I'm gonna work my way down. So as you can see, I'm getting this type of tone of green. I'm gonna add white to my original green and show you how that looks. Okay. Then I'm gonna show you how it looks with a light dark green. And my colors might be dry already, but I'm just showing you how you can just play around with different tones. So I say I want to work with this type of green. So I'm gonna pick some up right here, and I'm gonna start adding the shadows to my leaves first. So I'm going to take some green, some yellow, and maybe even a little bit of white, so I could get a nice, I wouldn't say dull, but more of a foresty type of green. So I'm gonna go ahead and start adding this to my leaves. I'm gonna add it to this leaf. And just a friendly tip, when you're adding shadows into your leaves, your source of light is coming from the front. So I normally do my dark shadows in the back. So even if you miscolor something, you can always paint over it. It's not I ruined it or it's not perfect anymore. It still is. You just gotta go back over it, okay? So I'm gonna place some dark green here because I really want my other green to really pop out that light green. So I'm still just focusing on my dark tones. I'm taking the tip of my brush. I wouldn't say all of my leaves need a blue, like a dark blue, but you could go ahead and play around with it, you know? You can add some highlights on the outside of your leaves going out. You can add some wherever you want it to be. Now I'm gonna show you how to do the, you know what, let's just take care of this too while we're at it. We're gonna work on our second cup too. We're just gonna add some dark greens in here too while we still have our color. Going to add some here. And add some here. You don't gotta add it to all of your leaves. You could give it variety, like I said. Okay, so we got our dark greens down. Now I'm gonna work my way to just the most simplest of greens, the in-between greens, I call them. Well, neutrals, I would say. So I go back to my original green or something close to it. It doesn't matter, however type of green you want to do it. All right, and we're just gonna want to go ahead and create that shadow effect. So we already got our shadows down, but we want to add a little bit more light. So we're going to go ahead and take our brush from the side and use that flat part of our brush to create those highlights. Because what I'm doing is I want to create that shadow effect inside my leaves. So I'm just taking my brush and adding that highlight inside. Okay. I'm just adding highlights, little subtle tones in my dark green. And man, I can't wait to show you how the highlights are gonna look for the leaves, but I'm just adding in little highlights for my shadows to create that realistic effect. So I'm just adding that lighter tone, that lighter shadow tone inside of my leaves. All right. So for this next part, you're going to want to go ahead and clean your brush because now we're working with lighter colors. Like I said earlier, it's really hard to work those dark colors out of your brush when you're mixing light colors. So you just want to go ahead and do a little spin, do a little dance in your brush. Get all that excess water off, all that excess paint off. You might want to do a little twitch, do a little twitch to it. And then get the excess water off. And then take your napkin or a towel and just dab dry your brush gently. You wanna be careful when you take care of your brush. It's taking care of you, so look out for it, you know? Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and work with our lighter tones now. So I want to work with a lighter yellow. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a bit more yellow to my light tones. Thankfully, I still have some light green. You can add this inside of your leaves. I will show you what I mean by that in a bit. So let's say I want to work with this leaf. I'm gonna go ahead and take the flat side of my brush and work my way out. I'm gonna show you again. And you can, the same way how you place your first leaves, you can do that same effect with the little parts as well. So I do a little corner piece right here. It might be hard to see, so you may have to do another layer. But we just want to go ahead and start adding in our highlights inside and in the foreground of our leaves. So foreground, I mean just the parts that are closer to where you're going to see it. So like right here, for example, I'm going to go ahead and take your brush and just lift off. Take the corner piece of your brush, flat, work your way out. Okay. I'm going to take my brush part right here and just brush out, other side out. Just so that light color really comes in from that dark color. It's kind of saying, I'm coming into the world. I am here. I am ready. So I take the tip of my brush here and work my way up. And then let's say I want to do a lighter yellow. I'm going to just go ahead, add some yellow, or you can add some white. Just if that color's not showing up yet for that second layer on your cup, you're just going to go ahead and just make brighter tones coming out of your leaves. Okay, so I have my light color. I'm going to brush up. And when it comes to creating that effect, that leafy effect, I use the bristles of my brush when I'm lifting my brush up to create those effects. So I take the tip of my brush, and you see that right there, that little texture that I created when I brush out. That's the effect I want to create when applying my paint. So I'm just painting out. And even here, I'm just painting in my highlights. You can paint inside your leaves, outside your leaves. We're just playing around with different tones. So I'm just adding in some highlights inside of my leaves. I'm just working my way out of the colors I first placed. I'm gonna bring my brush out over here. And I'm gonna bring in some warm highlight inside of my leaf here. So we're just brushing in our light colors. And what we're gonna do next is work on our stems. So we're gonna wanna go ahead and take our little brush of break. Still working on green. So we're just gonna take Big Ben a little break. He's been pulling us through it. Let's take a moment to thank Big Ben for all of his accomplishments so far. He's not done yet, but he certainly has done us a service. Okay. So I just take my brush, get that excess water off, and then I go ahead and I pat dry. And we're just gonna give them a little break. So now we're gonna work with our itty bitty, I'll call it our itty weedy bitty. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna make light colors for our stems because we really want to make them pop out. So you can do a combination of yellow, blue, and more yellow, or you could do white. It doesn't matter. So I'm gonna go ahead and take some scoops from my yellow, and you could add them into your light yellow you have already if you still have some, and just go ahead and mix that in. And so we're gonna start with our basic green again. And then we're going to add more yellow. I even say you can do 3 to 4 scoops of yellow just to make it show out of that blue. All right. Then we're gonna go ahead and take some white and add that inside too. So now we're just focusing on our little stem parts inside of our leaves. So we're just going to take our brush with the tip of it fully loaded with that light green, and we're just going to go ahead and draw some lines on top of our leaves. So we're going to start from the top and work our way up, or you could do both. So I'm going to show you, I'll actually show you how it looks when you start from the bottom and go to the top. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the bottom of that leaf and just start painting my way up. And then when you reach to the top, you're gonna wanna go ahead and twist your wrist and lightly lift that brush off your canvas. Again, I'll show you again. So we're gonna start with the bottom of our leaf and work our way up to the top. So it should go from thin to thick or thick to thin. And even if it's not popping out, you can go ahead and take some white with your loaded brush still with green and find a separate section on your palette just to get that lighter tone of green. And I wouldn't go over this if you want to make it lighter. Just give it a moment to dry. I'm gonna go ahead and add some more stems into my I say veins. I like to say stems though, but yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and draw some lines going into the center of my leaf. So you could start from the stem and work your way out. You could work on your stems and make some more out of them. We just want to give it that realistic effect now. You could start from the center, way out. And I think my green is like ready to get painted over. So you could add more yellow to it to make it really stand out. The white makes it subtle, but I'm gonna go ahead and add some yellow. and paint outward. I'm gonna go ahead and paint outward. Okay. So I'm just playing around with different tones of light greens now. So I'm just painting from the center and brushing out, lifting gently too. You want to start from the center and lift gently out. Work your way from the center, gently out. You see those leaves coming in now? I'm gonna add one more over here to make it really stand out. So I go from thick and gently lift off to thin. So you see those leaves are finally starting to come in. And you don't have to go crazy with it. I normally do more for the big leaves. And even when it comes to adding stems coming out of your glass, you can just go ahead and start adding some waves, add some lines coming out of your leaves, going out, and they can end wherever you want. Because next we're going to paint our flowers. So we're just going to take our light yellow, light greens, and just start making some stems coming across wherever you want to place them. You're just dancing with your brush. And creating stems. Just going to start from the center, lift up lightly. And you see the detail brush really carries you through your process. I'm gonna add more yellow because I'm outside and paint dries out fast. I do not know why, but it's very annoying. Oh, even as a bonus tip, if you would like to add some more highlights to your leaves, I take some of my light yellow here and I just start adding some highlights inside of my leaves. So even here, I can work my way from the top, middle, and go thin, lifting my brush lightly off my canvas. Go ahead and add more stems coming out. You really want your stems to come outwards when you're making your leaves. I could add some more here. You can just start adding waves. It doesn't have to be a straight line. You can do some curves. You can do some waves. We just want to make sure that at least some of our leaves have some greenery. You can even do white to make it pop. So I say I'm good on this part of my leaves. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same with my other side of my cup. Like I said, if you don't have a cup, that's completely okay. You can go ahead and skip to the next part of the video where I get started into the flowers. So I'm just taking my brush. I'm working, let's say this is the other side of my cup. So I'm just working from the bottom, pressing down, and then lifting up lightly for thin to thick lines. Thin to thick to thin. So you want to start with lightly, and then press down a bit, and go back to light. Do the same here. You can add as many stems as you want. Like I said, this is not a class where you have to work for an A. This is our chill session. This is us like just having fun, just enjoying ourselves, having a great time. So I have some leaves that are just starting to look phenomenal. Just looking freaking gorgeous. I'm so proud of them. I want to cry. Again, I'm just making some stems going out. They don't necessarily have to touch your leaves, but you know, just a little dash of curve outside for your stems. Doesn't hurt nobody. You can add some loops. You know, when you come across leaves outside, you notice how they loop. It's actually a phenomenon. I'm just adding just a little bit more at the bottom. Just even at the bottom, leave some love. I think they deserve it. I'm not gonna go crazy on the little leaves here. Just a little bit of stem. Just to let people know, like, this is my leaf. I'm bringing it to life. Here is some of my stem. But at least you know it's a leaf. I'd be yapping sometimes, forgive me. Alright, so I have my leaves fully stemmed up and shadowed in with some stems coming out. So I want to go ahead now and clean my brush. I'm going to clean my brush. I would say hold on to this brush because now we're going to get into our flowers. So hopefully you still have some yellow in your palette because we're going to make our little centers for our flowers. And again, this is going to be done in 2 layers. So just remember, we're going to be painting over our yellow, but at least you know where to start placing your petals. That yellow is going to be a great reference point. So we're just going to go ahead and start with our first layer of yellow. So as many dots of yellow I say you add is how many flowers you'll be adding to your cup. So keep that in mind. However many yellow dots you add to your flowers is how many petals you got to make for those flowers. So you want to make sure that your detail brush is nice and loaded with yellow. All right, so I don't know which part we left off on, but I just said we're just gonna go ahead and add, like, I'm gonna add 8 flowers since this is what I signed up for with all these dots that I made. I had to put my phone in the charger in the refrigerator. Let me go ahead and clean my brush while I'm talking. I'm gonna switch from yellow to red for the centers, but my phone overheated because when you're in Arizona, that's what it will do. So I had to put my my phone in the freezer so I could keep recording. But anyway, so we're gonna go ahead with our clean brush now, and you can do the same on the other side of your cup or on your new cup. It doesn't matter. We're just doing varieties of different flowers. So I'm gonna go ahead and take some of my red, no need to mix, and I'm gonna just start adding some dots here and there too. So I'm gonna add some dots here. Let's see, I'm gonna add here. Like I said, however many dots that I add, that's how many flowers I'm signing up to make. So there is no pressure on your end. Just know that, you know, if you love a good challenge, you can add as many flowers as you like. But I'm gonna go with that amount. So I'm gonna go ahead now and give my little brush a little break. So I'm gonna just go ahead and add my brush into my water, make sure that it's clean, get the excess water off, and then dab dry with my napkin / towel. And then I'm gonna go back to my Big Ben, my best friend, and we're going to work on our pinks now, our different shades of pink. So I don't know why my brush had blue in it. Come on, Big Ben, work with me. You give Big Ben a big break, and then he wants to start acting up. So I'm gonna get that excess water off, and I'm gonna start dab drying it off my Big Ben. And then when it comes to making our pinks, we're going to start with a light pink, just so you get an idea how strong red can be. Any color that you are mixing with a light color, say for example red or blue, It's going to be very strong, so you have to add a little bit as you go. So we're going to start with some light pinks. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up some white. I'm going to pick up 2 scoops of white and find a section on my palette to mix those colors in. All right, and I'm going to take a little bit of red just by the corner of my brush and begin to blend those 2 colors in. And as you can see, we're going to get those light tones of pink. All right. And then how we make our petals, I'm showing you a quick demonstration. I'll normally take how I did my, it's gonna be the same way I held my brush to make my leaves, but this is for my petals now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take the tip of my brush, go from thin to thick. I know that was a little weird to show, so I'm gonna show you again. I'm gonna show you pretty much throughout this whole process. So I'm starting with the tip of my brush, and I'm gonna go from thin to thick and work my way back to thin. And if you are going over your petals, your centers of your flowers, that is completely okay, because you're gonna go ahead and go over with another coat of yellow. So the yellow here that we made is just to know where our flowers are. So we start with we're gonna angle our brush, work our way from thin to thick, and do another petal. So we go from thin to thick. We're gonna work a circle, an arch, and work our way back into the center. Okay, so I say 4 is about a good amount. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the same with my other petals. So I'm going from thin, circle, arch to thick. I go from thin, circle, arch to thick. And I may look like a bunch of blobs right now. That's completely okay. I'm gonna show you an easy way too, if that's a little bit overwhelming. I just go ahead and I go from the thin, angle my brush, and I work my way from thin to thick. And I work my way all around. I think this would be I'm just doing start with a flat and work my way to thick. I go from thin to thick. And thin to thick. So I'm just working my way to making a rounded shape for my petals all around. And even if you don't, it may look like a whole bunch of blob at first, but we're gonna make different varieties of our petals. We're just working our first layer. So this is for our pink flowers. And then just to make things easier, we're gonna go ahead and do some white flowers. These are the easiest ones, I swear. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and clean my brush now while my first layer of pink flowers are drying. And then you can work on the other side of your cup or work on your next cup. But I'm gonna go ahead and add the petals for the red center flowers, I'll call them. So I'm just going to dab dry my brush. And it may be hard to see on this canvas, but for those that have glasses, you're just gonna go ahead and take some white on an empty part of your palette and do the same for those flowers as well. So as you can see, I'm just going from thin to thick strokes of my brush. So you want to start light and press down. You're going to start light and press down. You're going to go light, brush, round, down. We're going to go and flat brush down. I think that's a better way to show you how to land those colors. So I go from light, thick, down, light, thick, down. And we're just going to do this motion for the flowers that we're making. So that's going to be the white flowers. There is no need to mix any colors. Just remember, if you really want that color to stay, you're going to do 2 layers of white. So I feel my flowers here are dry now. I lightly press on my canvas to see. And okay, so good. So I'm gonna go ahead and start adding different tones of pinks. So let's say I'm over this color. I want to go ahead and do some darker flowers. So I'm gonna pick up my brush just a little bit off the corner and start working my way into some darker pinks. So you can either make a new set of pink using, you know, white and red, 2 scoops of white, 1 scoop of red. But I'm gonna just add on to my pink that I already made because I'm gonna play around with it. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start adding my second layer for the petals and start pressing down. So again, we go from thin, press down, and brush down, thin, curve down, thin, curve down. Again here, thin, curve down, then curve down, then curve down. Okay, let's say I want to do some lighter pinks. I'm gonna go ahead and pick up some of my white again. It may be a mid-tone red, but I'm just playing around with different tones. So I'm gonna make a mid-tone red and begin by adding some darker petals. So I'm gonna add one here to my set where I can still see my yellow. And you can even overlap your petals just to create that realistic effect. Let's say I want to do some lighter petals. I'm going to get some more white. All right. And add some of that back into my pink. And I'm gonna go ahead and do the same here. Add some petals. All right, so I'm thinking I just needed some petals, some lighter petals to really make it stand out. So as a bonus tip, you're going to clean Big Ben. I believe that is it for his session today with us. So you want to make sure that he's cleaned and ready to be washed off completely when you're done with your paint session. We are almost done with this paint session, so if you're still hanging on with me, man, thank you. I appreciate you for sticking around. And when we finish these, I really am excited to see who did this painting, and you can feel free to email me or message me on socials. You can find my socials in my description where I'll put them there. But that's enough of me up yapping. So I'm gonna go ahead, and the same effect that I made with these leaves right here, I'm gonna go ahead and do the same with my flowers. So I just work my way. You can do the center or the top, it doesn't matter. But that same concept of how we added those stems into our leaves, you're going to do the same with your flowers. Really make it pop. You can add light tones of folds. You can add some folds into your flowers. You can even add red. You can even add red. you can go ahead and do some light touches, some lines where you're just adding in some red from the top. You can add some red inside of your petals if you want. All right. Where else do I want to put these? I want to put one here. See, it doesn't matter where you put them as long as you're making those lines coming out to create that realistic effect. Maybe I want to make like darker tones of pink for my light flowers. I'm gonna go ahead and just add some lines. All right, we're back on air. My phone is tripping. I just need to like make storage for my phone, honestly. I have so many things I want to post, but it's just not posting. But anyway, I'm just adding now just the finishing touches, just those highlights of white and let's see, those dark reds, and just make some lines coming out with our baby brush. All right. And then once you have those down, we're pretty much good to go. All you have to do is sign. Well, you know what? I got too ahead of myself. One more thing. We got to add our last layer of... Alright, so if you're still with me, just keep hanging on because we're almost done. So I'm pretty much done with my flowers here. I'm gonna go ahead and add some highlights, some imaginary highlights into my glass, quote unquote, to make that white pop out. And then once we do that, we're just gonna go ahead and clean our brush one more time. Well, maybe a couple more times, but we're just gonna add in that final layer of yellow. So again, I'm just placing the dots on my flowers. Center. And just make those babies pop. All right. And yeah, so that's for that one. Okay, and we're going to add our red layer because why not? Just to make sure that it's on there good for when we clean our cups. Because I want to tell you that if you're planning to use your cup immediately, I say hang on a bit and give your cup around a week just so that the paint cures, and then you can go ahead and just wash your cup lightly so your cup has some longevity. If you decide to put it in the dishwasher, just make sure to put on the top shelf. Yeah, my memory was slowing down, but yes, we are complete with our glasses here. If you have a second glass, you can go ahead and repeat the same process that we just did, but this is our paint session for today. Be sure to give it a like if you want to see more of it, and give it a like. And if you had any questions, concerns, comments, anything like that, you know where the comment section is. I ain't gotta tell you nothing. If you want to subscribe, you can. I'm not the person that has a little button on the top that's like, subscribe to my channel. That's because, like, I'm not gonna do that to you. Whatever you're feeling, just feel it, you know. But I hope that you guys enjoyed the session. If you did try this thing out, these cups, if you own a cup or a canvas, let me know. You can contact me on socials or via email so I can go ahead and share that with a group of people that are kind of like not ready to paint. We want to give them that encouragement. We want to give them that boost. We just want to keep creativity alive. So I hope that you have a wonderful day wherever you are, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever. And, I'll catch you on the flip side. So.